Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to take a bit of a deeper dive into my training goals. So if you watched my last training video, you'll know that the big race that I've signed up for this year is my first ever 100k race, which is super exciting, but how on earth am I going to train for that? Well, to start off with, it's going to involve a lot of running. So how about we go for one day? So to prepare myself to run over 100 Ks, I'm obviously going to have to run a lot. I've been listening to this book, Training for the Uphill Athlete, which is basically a sort of training plan guide for mountain athletes. It goes into awesome amounts of detail about heaps of different stuff, but the main thing that I want to know is just how far do I have to run to prepare myself for this race. So they do give some guidelines for this. So it says for a 100-kilometer race, for your biggest 16 weeks of training, you should be averaging around 75 kilometers per week. Secondly, you should have a peak week of about 120 to 130 kilometers, and you should try to get the total vertical of your given race within 1 week of training as well. This means that ideally my peak training week should be around 130 kilometers with about 6,400 meters of elevation gain. Okay, that's not gonna happen. So realistically, what do I think I can achieve in terms of training? Well, a general rule of thumb is to not increase weekly mileage by more than about 10% on any week. And if I'm doing about 50 Ks a week at the moment, then with 13 or 14 weeks to go, that does kind of seem possible. But really I should be also adding in some recovery weeks with significantly less mileage on those weeks. And given my track record for getting injured, I think it's definitely best to err on the conservative side. I think it's probably much smarter to go into a race a little undertrained but well rested rather than overtrained and injured. So let's see some numbers then. So in the 2 weeks leading up to the Jabalani challenge, I plan on doing about 60 Ks this week and then about 65 Ks next week, which will include the race as well. After that, I'm gonna have a bit of a recovery week, so maybe like 35 kilometers for that week. And then I'll try to get back to about 60 to 65 Ks per week. I'll try to slowly build it up to around 85 to 90 Ks for the week of UTA, which will include the 22K and the 50K race. After that, I'll have another easy recovery week and then back up to about 85 to 90 Ks a week. I'll try to slowly build it up to around 100 Ks a week, maybe 110, but at that point, I think that I'll be at risk of getting injured. So as part of my plan to not get injured, I'm planning on doing a lot of hiking as part of my long workouts. So those weeks where I'm gonna have a lot of Ks, particularly with the long runs and the races, there's gonna be a lot of walking in those workouts as well. I figure I'm probably gonna be doing a lot of walking for my 100k race, so I might as well do some of it in my training as well. Sweating a lot. Whew. That was a long run. That was probably the longest run that I've done probably all year, like since the Cozzy 50. That was probably the longest one that I've done, and it was hot and it was difficult, but I think it was good. So today I did 30 kilometers with 1,125 meters of vertical at a generally pretty easy pace, so it took about 4.5 hours. And this gets my weekly mileage up to 60 Ks with about 2,000 meters of vertical. I'll try to do some more hills at the start of next week and then take it pretty easy on Thursday and Friday, because then I've got my very long run on the Saturday. I've got the 45K for the Jabalani Challenge. Yeah, I guess that's an idea of what I'm sort of hoping for in terms of my training, at least in terms of the mileage that I want to be doing. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how the training goes over the next 13 or 14 weeks, and hopefully we get at least to the start line.